Okay, so welcome to our studio where we continue to be mindful of the impact of the novel coronavirus and the global pandemic in relation to ourselves and society. At this point, Trinidad and Tobago is well into its second and more challenging wave of the virus. This time around, we are experiencing community spread, which is much different from the sporadic cases that were reported earlier this year.
To date, it feels as though we are struggling to overtake or even keep pace with the virus, and ever-evolving new normal, where the only thing constant is change. And the more things change, the more they remain the same. Mask wearing, for example, was first denied, then encouraged, then debated, then a fashion statement, and now mandatory. And even being mandatory, it is still denied, encouraged, and debated. The more things change, the more they remain the same.
As the pandemic persists, this cycle of change has really tested, if not toppled, our resilience. Depression, anxiety, domestic disturbance, and suicide globally appear to be on the rise. In studio, we've been reflecting on this in terms of self-care. The need for self-care during these times has not changed. If anything, it has become more essential.
At the start of this, my self-care looked like this.
I've been just drawing what I'm seeing outside my window. Nice. Today it rained, and so it looks different.
And mine like this.
That's good, because I've been reading a lot of comic books.
The creative spark kind of took over, and I actually enrolled in a comics creation course. And I've been using the assignments to just kind of explore and reflect on some of the thoughts, the anxieties that I've been having.
And now, 6 months later, it's more like this.
And this.
By now, you may or may not have realized that self-care not only varies from person to person, but also has had to evolve on the personal level as time progresses. At the heart of this evolution is creativity.
Of course, the art therapist would say that creativity should be incorporated into your self-care practices and regimes. Expressing oneself is integral to striking a balance between our internal understanding and external perception of reality. But it is important to note that creativity doesn't have to involve art materials, painting and drawing, or be limited to a particular artistic medium. In fact, now is a great time to nurture your own inherent creativity and explore how and where it has come to flourish in your own life.
There are many ways in which art can be created. I create my art in my kitchen.
I'm creative when I'm making basic household repairs.
Creative endeavors usually allow for mistakes to be made, addressed, and if not rectified, at least forgiven. Be gentle with yourself. Mistakes are an integral part in any learning process. The struggle is real, and who feels it knows it. Remember above all that your self-care has to do with you. It is important not to compare how you feel inside to how others appear outside.
Good mental health is not about feeling only positive emotions, but about being able to experience and appreciate a range of emotions, including those we may see as positive or negative, without being overwhelmed.
I think one of the more surprising things I've had to learn over this period is it's okay not to be okay. Beyond self-care, we all need support. But I found that this was such a revelation when thinking of myself. There's no comprehensive playbook to surviving a global pandemic. And so, most, if not all of us, some more than others, have found ourselves far from our respective comfort zones for far too long. It should be self-evident that we would all need support or need to support each other through it. And yet, admittedly for me, it wasn't. Helping others, yeah, I'm there. But helping me, there's no need, I got this. Reflecting on this in studio, I realized that I had unconsciously fallen victim to what most people who have been forced to confront mental health issues in our country have experienced in doing so. And that is stigma. Specifically in this case, the idea that if you're not okay or you're not in complete control at all times, that signifies a weakness to be condemned or hidden.
Ideas such as these are often propagated in the larger society and can become internalized, resulting in further barriers to someone seeking and accessing help. Despite being apparently backed up internally as well as externally, ideas like this are simply not true. A good indicator of this is that such ideas are usually applied disproportionately in real-life situations. For instance, you might be quick to come to the aid of a trusted friend, but should the situation be reversed, you hesitate to ask that same friend for assistance. Or we don't necessarily condemn a person for seeking medical attention, having contracted the common cold, or even COVID-19 itself, but we are less accommodative of someone whose emotional distress warrants exception.
In a way, the pandemic itself is indirectly pulling back the curtain of stigma, with the apparent increase in domestic disturbance, suicide, depression, anxiety, among other disorders since its onset.
That is to say, depending on how stressful our lives may get, any one of us can experience a mental health breakdown or disorder. Mental health is on a continuum, influenced by genetic makeup, life circumstances, stress and stresses, and upbringing.
As we continue to tackle the pandemic together, maybe we will emerge from this experience more inclined to recognize people who are struggling, as opposed to the label of a mental disorder that they may be carrying. Then it just becomes about connecting them compassionately with the assistance that they may need to climb the continuum.